Open the Saturday special meeting of the Town Council, April 15th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think you all got the 3 agendas, right?
Yes.
Okay. Was that all right with all of you?
Yes.
Madam President,
So it's not, it's under, it's stuck under your.
Yes.
on the agendas, just for future reference, I think it would be helpful if we had the account numbers listed to it, so next to them, so we can
I
find them
started
faster.
doing that and then I stopped. Okay. We can do that. All right, the first one is economic development. Renee is here.
We gotta do roll call?
Oh, yeah, roll call. It's Saturday.
Counselor Edwards?
Present.
Counselor Janick?
Present.
Counselor Edwards?
Present.
Counselor deMedeiros?
Yeah.
Counselor Burk?
Present.
Counselor Milbourne? Counselor Perry is absent.
Did I forget anything else before I start? You know, I do have the account numbers on mine. What page is it?
On page 12. Page 12.
6,200.
6200 is our account number.
Okay. All right, so Renee, the only thing I noticed was the increase in the Chamber of Commerce. Well, it's actually because of the grant writer, right?
Yeah, that's, the increase is the grant writer, actually. Everything else was pretty much the same.
All right, describe to us the grant writer and why you need it.
Okay, one of the reasons we were looking at that, actually, and Dean Holt is here, because we were talking about just trying to establish some goals so that we knew where we were going. There are a lot of grants that come up, but we don't have a planner, and it's just like really hard for us to all of a sudden come and develop all the things that they need for a particular grant. So that's why we were looking at that. But we were also looking at it because in some ways it was a way for us to set aside some money so we could start looking at some long-range goals like the North Tiverton area, and being able to get a fix on what can be done there or what should be done there.
We did give some money for
But
that.
that,
Yeah, we have 100,000.
well, but that's, thank you, because that's my point exactly. Because what happened was that we put in our budget and then that came.
Okay.
So it was, also in a way for us a placeholder, a way to be able to start doing some stuff. But other things happened, so that's,
The grant, that money came from APRA? No. The 100,000 for, yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure everybody knows that that's where that came from. Is there any way we could help her with grant writing and take this out of our budget? Well, I'm wondering if Ashley could, so what you need is documents, right? You do know our police chief is like an expert on
I
this.
know,
Okay.
exactly. And he's really good at his, and I think, it's really for us a question of, when we see the grant, we have to pull it together really quickly. So, yeah, I guess somebody could help, but also if this is something that can be done, since most of the grants we were looking at were things for the north.
Yeah, for the north end, it can come from that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right,
Yeah.
Madam President,
yes.
on the grant writer piece, can you talk about how that contract would work?
Well, we would actually have to find a grant writer, and what they do is, there are people that do grants, they charge by the hour. We figured out that we assumed that a grant would be somewhere between 30 to maybe 50 hours of writing and getting the information, and that was where we came up with the $5,000.
Got it. But I'm assuming that if an award is successful, they would get a piece of
Well, we
the
would
grant
all-
dollars.
No.
No,
Not necessarily. You
no.
could do it that way, or you could do it by the hour.
by the
Yeah, you
hour.
can do it differently, because we
Yeah.
looked into this last time. Newport does it that way.
Yeah.
Where they get a
They
percentage.
get a percentage.
And that's how they end up paying for the grant writer. And we talked about that like a few months, we talked about that.
We don't qualify.
Yeah, so,
So they get guaranteed monies coming in every year. So if
I mean, I'm hoping we're
they take
gonna,
their administrative costs, and they apply it as a grant writer.
I'm hoping at some point we do get a full-time planner. But, I mean, I've been hoping that for over a year. We have had some prospects, but they haven't taken the job. But if we could move this into.
Yeah, I'd suggest we take that out for this year, and then we look at using what we need from the money we allocated for the committee for revitalization.
And if you did need a specific grant and someone to, we could probably figure out the monies for that as we go along
Bless you.
in our budget. Yeah, Dave.
Yeah, so we can hear, so everybody can hear you, Dave.
Thanks for coming.
No problem. Dave Perry, Bramble Way. We use grant writers, you might want to try this, from University of Dartmouth,
Oh, good.
undergraduate students.
Perfect.
They have grant writers.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Oh,
Thank
Or
you.
try BCC,
Or BCC.
either one.
Okay.
Yeah, but we use UMass Dartmouth.
So you have contacts?
How do they
You
get
have
paid?
contacts?
Yeah, actually, I can get your contact.
Okay, perfect.
how do they get paid? They don't get paid.
They don't get paid,
No.
they're undergraduate
Yeah,
students.
they're students that are practicing.
Oh, nice. Even better.
Okay.
What about the state EDC? Like Rhode Island Commerce, do they have any resources we could leverage?
Actually, what I have done is contacted Chamber of Commerce and asked them for help. And in fact, I have also checked with Connect Greater Newport, which is one of the fees that we pay, and they were able to help us one time with the grant that we got
That we
first.
got.
So I have reached out to other things, it's just that I was looking for.
Something more consistent?
Yeah.
But meanwhile, we did put money somewhere else.
Right.
And then your supply and miscellaneous went up, I mean, not a lot. $220. I assume that's just,
Where are we looking?
Cost of Post-it notes.
I think that was for the business forum, wasn't it? The additional
The
$200?
$200 was, we would like to do try the business forum again.
And it wasn't budgeted this time?
It wasn't
Right.
budgeted this time.
okay. Okay. So your bottom line would change to 1,930, does everyone agree with me?
If you take out the,
Yeah, if you take out the grant.
11,930? No?
I'm confused on that. Isn't the 6210, is that the dues to the chamber?
I'm sorry?
The 6210, because it's,
Oh, yeah, no, John, I'm just looking at the bottom, last year's, which was 7,710, and I added the 220, the additional supplies and miscellaneous, and I came up with 1930.
7930.
Yeah, not, I'm
So you're
sorry.
just backing out the grant writer?
Right.
Oh, yeah, you're right, 7930.
793589.
Just taking out the 5.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
Does that sound,
I would just say on this, I think it makes sense to pull the money out of the 100,000 this year, but from a policy standpoint, if we want the EDC to go after grants, in future years, we should be putting this in the budget and making a commitment from a policy standpoint to support what they're doing.
but I do think they need to look at the UMass Dartmouth.
yeah. Yeah,
I think Roger Williams,
I'm more than that,
I
I'll call
think
up you
still
on that
has
too.
talk
I
to,
have a connection at URI, so,
talk to Stu too, because I think he's used Roger Williams
yeah. I'll be happy to do that.
also.
But I also just want to make a plug at this point, since we're talking about the budget, that I do want to remind the town council that we talked about after the budget, giving us, having a meeting with us so we can get some ideas from the town council as to what their priorities are in town and how they see economic development, because we're asking for guidance.
Sure. Once we get through the budget, we'll have some days available.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
All right, I think that's it. Thank you.
So what is the value for each line item?
Is there any argument pursuing
Is it 6210?
why would we
Yep.
take it out?
And then-
Find we need it,
1720.
Now we're behind the eight
Because
ball.
he's got it.
6210?
He's got it.
See, I think you guys, I don't know what.
Well, I'm looking at this, and I backed out 5,000, that's where the 7935 comes from. But that's different than here.
Yeah, because we had a little bit of an increase in the $200 forum kind of thing. So if you're going by that,
Oh, I'm looking at the budget.
Right, but if you back this out, that's 6215.
6215.
Right.
No, look. Why would it be?
You back 5,000 out of that, it's 6215.
It's 7935.
No, but we're bottom.
No, we're talking about the top line.
We're bottom lining this.
I think if you back out.
We're bottom lining 6210.
So the dues to Newport, 6210 or 6215?
I'm sorry, what?
Are the dues to Newport and Chamber 6210 or 6215?
That's where,
That's where,
That's
there
the
was a
problem here.
mistake. There was something that happened that we paid them and it wasn't enough, so.
I know.
Yeah.
What it is,
So
that's-
it's
That's what it
6215.
was.
That's
There
why
was
I'm
a
with-
difference,
okay.
yes. There was a hiccup there.
So 6215 and 1720.
Yeah, there you go.
That's one of those numbers.
Excuse me, 6215 and 1720.
all right.
Which is
For a total of
7935.
7935.
There's 89 cents in there for something, but printer ink.
I don't know, it was like something that was on the bill.
So the total
So-
is 7935?
Correct.
Okay.
The book is more accurate, is that what everyone's telling me?
Well, it gives you more details.
Yeah, I know, but the numbers are different than what's on the actual budget we submitted. So that's what's important. 'Cause
Yeah, it's only different by 89 cents.
But we don't include the decimals.
Right, I know, but that's the only difference. It would actually be 20, if you round up, it'd be 36.
All right. So I'm just tired.
All set?
Yes, thank you, Renee.
Thank you very much.
So, well, John's not here yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna do senior citizens.
Okay.
It's page 12.
It's 6110.
Details in there.
I'm moving around a little bit too. Who's in front of me?
It's okay, Marty.
Hello.
Good morning.
There's no backup to them. Okay.
Yeah, I
So just about everything level funded. Love it.
The two increases that I put on here, I can explain both of them. So the one is the bus driver salary, because we want to increase our we have increased our bus service from 2 days to 3 days. And in order to pay, right now, he is receiving $15.50 an hour. I do hope to raise that to $16 after he's there for 6 months or roughly. And if he's working 15 hours per week, which is 3 days, would be $12,480 for the year. Right now, it's at $10,000. If we could raise it to $12.50,
Okay.
it would
I was gonna
cover.
say.
It would cover the bus driver, so he can do 3 days of service for the senior center. So that's what that increase in for bus service is.
I have bus in, bus drivers flat.
Right, so what she's
She's
doing
asking
is
for
she's
more.
asking for more right now in front of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to go the 10 to 12.5?
Yes, that's what I would hope for.
So how is the increased runs working out?
Oh, great. They're fantastic. Well, it's also for Thursday, which is our bingo day. So he has a later start and he stays till the end of bingo, so people can go to the bingo
Right.
as well, which a lot of them like to do that, and they weren't able to do it. So it's been plus the other folks are going to, he still takes other people shopping. So one day he goes to Market Basket, one day he does Walmart, now he does Job Lot, so they have that increase as well. And they're taking advantage of it. So some days we have, like 10 people on the bus, which is wonderful. We're almost full out, so.
Perfect. And then your other increase?
Oh, the other one is programs. And again, that's the one that pays for my instructors. And we always go over the amount that's there. So I was trying to maybe,
Is that enough?
I think 16 would be enough at this point.
Well, I have 14 here.
Oh, you have 14 there? Well, actually, I don't know why. What happened, Denise separated that account at one point, so she put 14, I think, in, and then she separated, at one point it was all in one
Right.
group. So she's separated it. So right now, she's only got 13.
Oh, I know how she separated it. Didn't she do supplies and miscellaneous?
Exactly.
I remember that
So she
from
put the
last year.
supplies separate. So right now, it's 13 in that account, and I was hoping to get it to 16. Because
And
we-
keep the supplies at 3,000.
Yes, yeah, that would work out fine if we kept the supplies, but it's that separateness that kind of confuses. So the 3,000 for the supplies is fine, if we could just increase the part for the instructors. I've also started a couple of new programs, which right now, the funds through a grant are paying for it, but in the future, it may be part of us, paying so much per class like we do with these, and we'll get that revenue in, vice versa. But right now, because I had it put into our grant, you had a question, Deb?
I was just going to say, you do collect a payment for some of
right.
these classes.
We
So
do.
there's revenue that
Yeah, and
offsets some
that's
of
gonna be
this.
about 12,000 this year that we are receiving. So if you look at it, I'm asking for 4,000, not 12,000 technically. So usually it's close to a wash, but not 100%. Some classes do much better than others, and we, take that into consideration. But trying to keep them.
While I have you
variety.
here,
I'm
I
sorry.
had, while I do have you here, I have an idea about the power plant money this year.
Okay.
Last year, we used it for the fireworks, and we used it for some softball fields. I think this year, if you could come up with something for the seniors, I think it'd be a terrific idea.
Okay.
Because I feel we're hitting some community members, but I thought if you could come up with something that you need.
Okay.
We do have the 100,000 power plant money this year.
Oh, wow.
And we kind of did it for the children. We did it for the whole community. I was thinking if we could put a little bit into something we can really do for the seniors, I think it'd be a great idea. And I think the power plant would really like that too,
Yeah,
to
that
hit every
sounds
member
very
of the
nice.
community. I haven't really discussed it with the council,
I think
but
that's a great idea. Yeah.
when we do get to that power plant money, because I know other people are talking to me about it. So at some point at a meeting, if you could
Okay.
think of something.
All right, we'll put it
Because I figure,
together,
like,
yeah.
if we hit every section of the community, it would be really good.
No.
But I haven't, like, this will come in front of the council, but I just wanted you to think about it.
Well, thank you.
Because I know that other people are thinking of it too, so.
Didn't we just allocate last meeting, like 40 or 45,000 for
That was
fireworks?
from last
From
year.
last year's money,
Okay.
though.
That's from last year's money. And there's still some last year's money left, I think, a little bit.
We'll do an account, we'll do a reconciliation.
And plus, we just got the 100,000 check, but we've been doing it for different groups. I just thought this might be a good idea, once we get there. All right,
So
so
is your
you're,
bottom line 134, 680?
Yes,
yes.
yeah. We don't ask for a lot.
No, you don't. Is that good for everybody?
Yes.
Any other questions?
And I just give you a little update. The vinyl siding project should be done either the first or second week of June, which I'm going to also be doing flooring that same week. We're going to close the center and try to, because it's bathroom and kitchen, so we can't have the place running without bathrooms. So we're trying to coordinate it all on the same week. It'll hopefully either first or second. We're trying to get it all together. So I'm kind of excited about that.
And all that money came from the casino.
It's gaming.
That's gaming.
Yeah, that was.
So I just want people to
we
realize
did
that
get
we're
our-
making huge improvements without tax aid. We're
Yeah.
taking from the
Yes,
gaming money.
and we did get 2 new defibrillators as well
Nice.
with that money. Still, hopefully, we'll do the, something with the parking lot, hopefully. I've been talking with Rick about that, what we can do there.
You want to expand it a little, right?
Well, I'd love to do that, I mean, but that's, that money that you just talked about, unfortunately, you know, it's just so expensive with doing pavement. I mean, I wish we could expand it some. I mean, I don't know if that's even possible, the way we're
Well,
situated.
we've talked about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
This is a septic system.
Yeah, it's the
That's
septic.
part of the issue in that.
You
that
have to
I-
get rid of the cesspool and all that down by the fence.
And I
And then,
did-
of course, when you do that, where do you put the snow?
Well, I did call them about where we are in the queue, and it's not even in the near future. So that, you know, I wish that was like next year, but it doesn't sound like it according to the wastewater facility, you know, the folks that are doing it.
Yeah.
But that would be nice, you know, because then that corner would be a little piece that we could work with, but. I mean, I love our building, I really do. I just wish we had more parking.
Definitely. Definitely.
But the increasing the bus service does help to some degree, you know, we can get some folks to take a bus instead of, so.
Are you seeing your numbers coming back since COVID?
Oh, yes.
Nice.
Actually, they've been increasing.
Good.
We've gotten, we have folks that used to go to the VFW, when they, I'm sorry, not the VFW,
The nights.
thank you, the Knights, all their groups come to us now, their card groups, and a lot of the folks. We have people that used to go to Niagara in Fall River, they come, their live music was part of them, and we also get a lot of folks from Portsmouth because their center has closed a lot of their rooms, so they can't hold, so we've been getting the overflow from a lot of
great.
other folks around, so, yeah, we've definitely increased, and we're definitely full force again, so, which is great, it's exciting. And because of that, we're going to do a health fair again, which we haven't done since a year before COVID. We were supposed to do it the 20th of March, we closed on the 13th. So we are doing one in May, so that's kind of exciting, just to say that we can do that now, you know?
I think it's phenomenal that you were able to kind of hold it together through that period and with such fragile clientele, but it's nice to see that we're increasing and going forward. You have such great ideas and you've added so much.
Thank you, I appreciate you guys, I really do.
Thank you, we appreciate
Thank you.
you.
Yeah. All right, can I go?
Go enjoy your.
Enjoy your weekend.
You too.
Bye, thank you.
So land use I'm gonna skip over right now. Is he around?
I texted him, I haven't got an answer back.
Okay.
Want to do fire?
Yeah. No one else is here? No. Okay. All right, fire, you're on.
Sorry.
What's the matter?
We were trying to figure that out.
I realized that's why she smelled it. Yeah. All right,
This is the chief's first foray for this, so.
Sorry.
All right.
Take it easy.
we'll be gentle. So Chris, you and I were looking at this the other day in your office, and the salaries looked a little bit off to us.
So we did look at, we went through it, we double checked it. There were a number of reasons. When we did the Safer Grant, we had to demonstrate that all the costs for those probationary people, including benefits, was included in that number.
Oh, so he was right.
He was right.
Very good. Your first time and you got it right. Go ahead.
So-
Because Chris and I thought you were
So, yeah,
wrong.
because I was still baffled by it, and we went through it, and Judy went through it again, and sure enough, the numbers that are demonstrated in the docket are correct.
Yes.
So it is $200,000 cheaper.
Yeah, when I was looking at this, it just, I couldn't figure out why
It
salaries
was
went
bad.
down.
We
Double-checked the numbers like 10 times.
So
I
it was,
on-
it was
I've
more than
never
just
seen that
benefits.
happen.
No, I know,
so
but it
that's
was-
why I was like,
So all their uniforms, all their protective gear,
That was all
it
in
was all
there.
in that number, so that and we had to demonstrate, safer that it was in the budget. So we didn't wanna show.
I know it looks strange, but we went through it multiple times.
well,
It would've got carved out.
you understand why I had a question.
absolutely. I
never
had
saw
questions too, and I
A
didn't-
salary account go down in my,
No.
There's something wrong with
all
that.
my years here. I was like,
Do we not anticipate going, is there not going to be a safer grant opportunity this year?
We may try in another year, but I don't even know if we could perform a safer grant right now, for lack of applicant pool out there.
Okay.
We'd be in
So
non-compliance.
there's about 4 communities right now in the same boat. They actually got the grant,
Yep.
can't comply with it.
Huh.
So do they give the money back
Yeah.
and we can try?
Yeah. It gets,
The trouble is, we can't comply with it either, we're having a hard time finding people.
right.
Got it.
which is the
But it's
police.
everywhere. It's not a
reapply.
Tiverton problem, it's a nationwide problem.
It's also not just a fire
No, it's
problem,
not.
it's a
It's a
police
worker
problem,
problem,
it's a
actually.
medical problem, it's everything.
But we will reapply at some point.
So all of this makes sense now?
Yes.
Because probationary went away, that's what really,
Yep.
and it didn't reflect it up at the
They're not
top.
going away though, we keep hiring them.
They're coming back.
So that salary account is correct?
Yep.
So deputy chief position, is that something that
gonna
the
talk
council
about it.
permission? Okay.
So, we've been talking about the deputy chief for
Yes.
a very long time. And we've been putting it off. And some of the councilors haven't heard the reasons for this.
Sure.
So if you want to speak
But it's not
on.
the first time it's been,
So,
it's been the last couple of budgets we put it in. It's been discussed a number of times, it's just we didn't have,
What we ended up doing one year is giving the police chief a deputy
that was.
instead of a fire.
Right.
And then we promised we would look into the future for the fire.
That's not the first, I'm getting it, it's not the first time it's been presented.
Right, but
But there are.
not everybody here has
Right,
heard it.
no, not everybody here has heard it, so we'll go through, I don't know if you want to start,
I would love to start it. So if you just look at the demographic of the Tiverton Fire Department, 75% of the members have 10 years or less. So it's an extremely inexperienced fire department. We have 7 members with over 16 years. And that's just the facts, and that's just the demographics. So the department requires and needs, and it's imperative that it has leadership at the top because of the inexperience. And we do have 4 shift commanders, 4 shift captains, but they work shifts, and they're running calls, and they run multiple calls a day. And with their schedule of 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, and then 5 off, it's difficult, me as the department head, to have somebody to work with consistently. We need a more consistent training program. We need somebody to assist with writing grants, department operating procedures, policies, and enforcing those. Another issue that I have is the fact that I have 3 fire stations to keep tabs on, where if I was out of one station, it might be slightly easier, but that's not a reality with the amount of land that Tiverton and response times. So those are just some of the general overviews, plus meetings. Often I'm double booked and have to make decisions not to attend important meetings because it's important to be here in the town working on the day-to-day operations.
And this new position would take over the EMA.
not necessarily.
No, it would assist me with EMA duties, but if there was like a...
Because that's quite-
It's a
that's
lot,
quite a
it's very
job.
It
robust.
can be, when.
Oh, I
I mean,
know.
I attend Zoom meetings with REMA, FEMA, and I would like at times, that would be something that, the deputy chief could attend, we both could attend. It would just be, it would be a deputy fire chief. And also the other issue is, if you don't have a fire chief, it's not really a great idea to have the union running the union.
We've
So,
seen,
and one of the other real costly issues is, well, he has 4 captains, and they do run their platoons. They're 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 5 days gone. It's really hard to manage getting projects and things.
That's the difficulty I have.
It's extremely difficult. You don't get a decision for 5 days later, it's, or even the input from what you assigned your captain to. So it just drags. And that, and then, you give an assignment, and sometimes the assignment isn't always what you think they're doing. So we've been doing like a lot of capital issues, and, looking at where we need to put some monies into some of these structures. And, they come back with things, but they're not necessarily the right things. So we're finding like there's a water system in one of our, they're drinking potable water out of containers. We're not even getting to use the water that we have. And it's ridiculous that we, don't have so many, you can only be so many places so many times and do so many things. When you assign a task, you're expecting things to get done, but because it's so disjointed, you really lose some control.
Could this person also help the fire marshal?
So that was one thing one thing I've been
saying.
thinking is I would like them to have their fire marshal credentials, their fire inspectors, and that maybe one day a week, or when the marshal is, like right now, because it's the use it or lose it leave time, that he's taking days out, that would be a time where you could detail the deputy chief over to the marshal's office to work on fire prevention.
At least in the office. He
Absolutely.
wouldn't necessarily have to leave, but.
No, but I mean.
It would free Dan up to do
Right,
what he's gonna do.
or if we said like one day a week possibly, or a couple days a month, we got a lot of plan review stuff coming up. It's a lot for one person, and you're absolutely right.
So that was, you hit the nail on the head, that was my second comment, is we are confronted with a ton of development coming at us.
Oh, I know it.
Dan Murphy, who I think the world over, he does a great job what he does, but he is swamped. He's never gonna be able to get through the things that he's gonna need, we're gonna need help. So somewhere or another, we're gonna wind up looking at augmenting that fire marshal's office.
Well, this would be a way to do it. I don't see us hiring another fire marshal, but I do see us a good need for a deputy chief.
Well, that was one of my concerns, because I was wondering if we needed a part-time fire marshal, but if this position can help with that.
I agree with the chief, we would make it a requirement. That either have it or will have it within a short period of time.
How long does that take to get that certification?
So there's a course you gotta take through the fire marshal's office, that's probably about 4 months. Then you have to take a 4-hour written test with the NFPA, and then you have a practical, practicums that you have to submit to the NFPA for their review, and then at that point, they issue your fire inspector one. So it's probably,
That's-
it's a slightly lengthy process. It is. It's not something that, if you don't have it, it's not something that they're gonna get within a month or two. It's
Well,
probably gonna
wait.
be close to maybe a year.
Yeah.
Would
No,
this,
but he would not be the fire marshal, he would be assisting the fire
Right, but to do that, you would need your fire inspector one.
Right.
But we could put that as part of what we
criteria,
need
yeah.
for this position, is you have to have the fire
You
marshal.
have to have it within a year or something.
Well, no, I think we should put, have it,
Or
I
have
mean,
it-
that should be the priority, if they have it.
Right.
If they don't have it, well, like if we like the candidate and.
But if you put that in the job description, then
Yeah.
that covers you. You know what,
I'm gonna defer to the chief, because he's the one who's gonna have to work.
I supported this last time, and I didn't even remember all the reasons that I did, but
I think there's more reasons now.
I think there are, and I think that we saw firsthand what not having that position did to our last chief, and putting in the deputy in the police department has really helped on so many levels. So I agree that I think that it's really important.
The other issue I have too, by contract, if I take more than 2 days off in a row in a week, I have to move a captain into the chief's office. That's contractual. That does go away in the collective bargaining agreement if there's a deputy chief hired. But I am taking no weeks off because I can't really do the overtime. Plus, I need to be there. But that's another issue that at some point, it would be nice to have somebody to be able to cover that spot. It would also be another person to respond to scenes and oversee safety. We have a very small department, and again, it's a young department, but they could be somebody, another set of eyes, maybe focusing on the safety aspect of the emergency scene.
So if you take 2 days off, you have to put somebody
By
in your
contract,
office?
if I'm unavailable during the
A
week,
union person?
I have to move a captain.
That's all he has.
That's all you have, right?
That's all I
That's the
have.
way it's always.
It's always been, no, and it does say by contract that does go away if a deputy chief is hired, but
If you
that's
remember,
another issue.
Bruce Reynolds used to do it when the chief was away.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's a lot of reasons.
can I ask on staffing, because it's not in the backup, if we add this position, are we reducing staffing elsewhere?
No.
Or is this a new body altogether?
So, that depends.
Well,
So if you're promoting from within, you would be backfilling that position that could be vacant for a bit. So, and ideally, you would want to probably try to promote from within.
Yeah, of course.
Right, but total numbers,
The total
No,
numbers
you
would
wouldn't be
not
adding a number.
change.
We wouldn't be deducting from the staffing requirements. You have 4 platoons, They run 32 men.
Per
We're not
contract.
gonna run 3 at 8 and 1 at 7. So there would still be 32 men.
That's per contract.
Yes.
That's per contract, yeah. We can't deviate from the contract. We can create a vacancy and try to find a replacement, but. So that timing issue, that would, as far as implementing this, it would be based on, timing is everything. It's, you know, when can we get close to full staffing?
Right.
And because it does cost an overtime. So it's all in how it's put together.
And I'm assuming that that's why the overtime number further down reflects a large jump.
Well, it's
speak to that.
reflecting a large jump, because that's what overtime is running.
Well, I'm going to speak to that too, but, not negatively, I just want to talk about that too, but, all right, any other questions about the deputy chief? And like I said, this has been on the horizon for at least 2-3 years,
So,
deputy
yes,
chief.
yes.
And we've always said we're gonna keep looking at it. So, overtime, which is always a discussion.
Pretty much predicated on vacancies.
I know.
How many vacancies do we have right now?
That's 5, we're back to 3.
Well, they're not, we're onboarding a person, a firefighter right now. He's going through his initial training. He's got 1 more week, and then he will be filling a slot. And we have another firefighter that is going to be starting on April 24th. So we lost 5 the 1st of March. We've hired 2, but they're not on board yet. And then we still have a deficit of 3 that we need to look to fill.
Okay.
And even of those 2, they're in a training program for a while, they don't really count as their full man.
They go through a Monday through Friday, like indoctrination, where they learn, you know, our stations, our equipment, and then when we feel we're with it, when they're ready, then they move on to a shift and can help there.
Okay.
I'm just trying to find your overtime use so far. I haven't noticed. Oh, it's in here too?
Yeah, it's, in his section, it's the,
This is the first time we've looked at this book, so. I actually had.
While you're looking, just a quick thought about the grant writing. Maybe we could, can we look at one of those universities or colleges for grant writing? Especially one that has a fire science program?
I'm just trying to find it in,
Not that I want to take away
Denise's new report.
that position, but just
No, I get
some
it.
of those tasks.
Yeah.
She's got this listed differently. Oh, right here.
Overtime,
So-
fire department, is that what you're looking for?
Oh, right here, yeah. So far, we're up to,
140?
actual is 140, and your remaining balance is 59, well, 60.
60. Out of a budget of 200,000.
And this is as of the end of February. Is that what you're looking at, end of February? So we still have 4 months. Anyway,
We're gonna be over, we know we're gonna be over.
We're always-
We're gonna wind up stripping out salary. So,
We're at
because we have
60%.
vacancies.
well, yeah, that's the balance. We usually take it from salary.
About 30 grand short, based on the run rate.
Which it will be balanced by taking it out of salary because we have all these positions open. So you want to increase it to 250?
Yes, for 275.
75.
But at our current run rate, we're sitting at about 230. So do we anticipate,
So, this is one of the hardest numbers to factor. The fact that we have a young staff, family medical is beyond the vacancy, that's your next biggest driver. We have no idea when that's gonna happen. And it happens because they raise families.
yep,
So, and we have no control over it. This year, we haven't had as many as we had last year. But I can't, it is the hardest number to project.
We also have.
This is not because they're out sick or because they're abusing it.
No, listen, I'm not saying anything about the department. I
No,
just
I-
want to be as close to accurate as possible.
All right, so,
But if you look at 2021, 2022, we gave them 150. And they used 195. And that's why we increased it to 200.
don't forget, we threw 50 grand in repairs into that. Was that
Yep.
$50,000 for that?
Right,
was
but
enough.
that had to do with COVID.
It did, but it was also, we didn't pay them any stipends or anything like
Right.
that. It was the same number of staff, it is what it is.
I'd like to make that 250 and see what happens. It's just every year, they ask for increases.
Oh, then on it, this is the chief asking.
No, oh, I know. And I see why, but
Yeah.
at some point, we were way up there, and we did decrease it.
So we
And it
do,
worked.
I know I don't know, it was the last council meeting, there is another report that we give the overtime report.
Yep.
It breaks out exactly what
Yeah,
causes
I
it.
have it somewhere.
So,
That's what this is,
Oh, okay.
because it gives an
Oh,
average
okay.
weekly of 2366, which only comes out to 123
Yeah.
a year.
I mean, the only thing is that we're sitting here at an 8-point
I know. I get it.
increase, and we can't do that number. I mean,
Right.
No,
we have to cut the 1.8 or whatever it is that we're going up by, in half. So we gotta find $900,000 somewhere.
Well, I think we're gonna end up taking some of this out and using other monies for some stuff. That shows this increase. But I like 250. I would love to keep it at 200 and hope that we staff, but.
Well-
Yeah, but see.
But if you don't staff, you're pulling it from the salary number,
Right,
so it's
that's
6 of
what
one,
I-
half dozen the other.
That's what my mind keeps telling me. We never go in the red here. Because when we have vacancies, that's where we backfill this. I'd love to keep it at 200, but I don't know how you feel about it.
I mean, if our run rate is 230, why wouldn't we go to 230?
Where are you getting that run rate from, John? I just can't find it.
You just,
Yeah, okay.
I took, we said
Councilman
eight months, 140,000 is what we've spent, so divide 140,000 by 8 months, that's 17.5 a month. Multiply that by 4, that's, gives us
Yeah,
the,
and I'm looking at the report that's in our book, and it shows an average weekly of 2366, which comes out to about 123. That's why I asked that.
Yeah, I think what he's doing is taking the amount we've spent now. I really want to keep it at 200. And because we do have a big increase and we have to do something about this. But the salary always backfills this. We never run into a problem. We really never do. And even when we had it at 150, we didn't run into a problem. Because when you have vacancies, that's where you put it. So my opinion is we keep it at 200. I don't know how the rest of you feel.
Well, if we
Further discussion.
keep it at 200 and we go over, we're gonna be just moving line items.
Yep, that's all we're gonna do.
we do that every year.
Right,
We
right.
have the ability to do that. And I think in one year, we even took a little bit from council contingency because we had such a
Yep.
high
We
rate over
absolutely
there.
did, yeah.
And we just put it in there because we always have extra money in council contingency that well, it's not extra, but it's money that we use to backfill some of these accounts.
Well, here's what worries me. We hired 4 firefighters with the safer grant, which we did not get. So we're in the hole 350 grand from that.
But that came
I know,
from general
but-
fund.
Then we lost 5 people. And that's what generates overtime. So we're getting 2 back, but now we've got this 3-person gap already before we even start.
We also have people eligible to retire.
Yeah,
And
if
I
we
hear there's
lose-
people that'll
if
look
we
into
lose
lateral
some more,
departments.
Yeah, but we
we
take
could.
from that salary account. We
Yeah.
never go in the red.
I know we don't.
We never go in the red, and we've been in worse times.
Because if you're short a captain, you're not paying the captain's salary to anybody. You've got that just sitting on the books. So you're paying.
No, you're paying the captain's salary.
Well, we know what I'm
You're still the
saying.
captain, you're promoting, you're
All right, so let me.
You're paying out of rate pay.
So you're going, out of rate pay. Okay, so what I'm saying is that it's not truly, like, you're not truly paying the full captain's salary to that person, because you've already budgeted that person from the lieutenant class. So it's the delta between captain's pay and lieutenant pay.
It's basically
So there's still
your
dollars
lowest
sitting there to
your
cover
lowest
the
end
off,
lieutenant.
yeah, the overtime.
I think we should leave it at 200. Do I have a consensus vote? Or does somebody want, we can make preliminary motions now, but at the end, we make a full motion on the entire budget. That's how we've always done it.
Yeah.
So 200, John, does that sound all right?
I mean, my suggestion would be 230, just because that's what our current run rate is.
Deb, keep in mind that we've got to reduce here, and all we're doing is increasing.
Well, yeah, we did an increase to 87 grand. so-
Right. I think we should go at 200, and
You know what?
we can always change it.
I'm on 200.
We can always change it, like, at the final moment later.
And that gets us to
Yeah, I mean, we're just-
2.69 or whatever for the salaries.
It brings us to 2696,
Yeah.
469.
That's
Fine.
Dennis, Jay? Is that good? Jay?
Yeah, 200, right?
Yeah. And keep in mind, we're not saying you're not gonna have overtime, but. But we've all.
I'd love to see that, Dave.
Well, fire and police always have overtime. But, we do have places to pull from, it's like vacancy causes overtime. And we'll see what happens, and we can always,
I'd rather play around with those line items and keep that deputy chief in.
yeah, because you are adding 87,000 guys.
Well,
It becomes almost a push.
87,000 plus benefits.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, that'll show later, but
Yeah.
yeah.
We're like, what, 110?
Yeah, 25. More like 125.
Yeah. Okay, so that number would be,
2696, 469.
Bunch of 6s and 9s in there.
Yeah. Was that good luck?
I hope so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that, please? That's the
269.
bottom line, Mary. 2696, 469. You're welcome.
okay. Operating. Employee Assistance Program, $600.
So we've entered in with the trust to look at going an employee assistance program, which the town does not have at all. We're trying to do a pilot program with the fire department, to see how it works out. It's actually a pretty good program. What was it? The cost is pretty.
85 cents per member per month. They are looking at an increase. We actually did just start it. We enrolled and we have it. They do multiple services, everything from, mental health issues to marital to financial to life coaching. It's all anonymous. The only information we'll know is how many members use it. I felt it was important that we have something if somebody needs some help.
And $600 for that. That seems like a no-brainer.
It
to
seemed
me.
very reasonable. It was through the trust.
So we've had a number of instances throughout the last couple of years that really, we spent some money on some pretty significant outside consultants to deal with some issues that this would help mitigate.
I can't believe we didn't have it already.
We don't have it for anybody other than this pilot?
Just this pilot right now, we want to test to see how it would work. I would assume there'll be something throughout the year. If I can find savings somewhere, that I'll come back to the council for.
Operational did go up quite a bit, so that's why I'm trying to.
So you've got some, obviously the fuel.
Yeah, how about recruiting process, promotional testing went up 1,500.
So this year, we only had to give one test. We have to give 2 tests next year.
Okay.
And also, that's where we pay, when we're hiring candidates, we pay for their psychological evaluations, gets pulled out of that. So knowing that we're short and probably losing more members, and if we make a promotion, we would need to have money, and that's the account that comes out of.
I'm assuming firefighter training's gone up because we need to replace
So
bodies.
those are the costs to send somebody to the Rhode Island Fire Academy. It's $3,250 just in tuition, and then we have to pay books and uniforms.
Yep. Makes sense.
So their uniforms comes out of that 30,000?
Well, they're training, for their training purposes, they do.
Yeah.
And then when they come on, the clothing allowance for their Tiverton uniforms, but there's a special uniform that they wear at the Rhode Island Fire
Okay.
Academy.
Professional development, that's a new. Someone want to explain that?
So what I was looking for was, because it's such a young department and there are opportunities to train, I was hoping to have an account, seeing as that overtime is tight, an account that we could compensate members to train off duty. Like I said, Rhode Island Fire, I have a lot of asks to go and attend courses at the Rhode Island Fire Academy. It was tough to come up with an exact number because the different programs they offer, they can be 8-hour courses. They're offering like 4-hour courses right now in electric vehicles. I would love to send people, but I wanted something that, I look at overtime as the stuff that's contractually mandated. I wanted to have a way to send like a young department, because if not, basically, other than what they're getting on the job and, you know, when they come on through the fire academy, I think there should be like professional ongoing development.
What's your lateral attrition rate, do you know offhand?
That'll,
Lateral?
I can't give an exact.
Because my only, I think it's great, my only concern is we pay that.
I know.
It bumps them up in terms of ability to sell themselves elsewhere.
So I know, and it's something that I wrestle with, but it would be like, you know, the Patriots sign a player for 1 year and do you not coach that player?
Right.
I mean, it's a dilemma, I know, and I wrestle with it all day. I'm like, but at this point, I think we need, you know, on the other hand, if we talk about recruitment and retention,
Yeah.
maybe
Right,
one way that
right.
we can resolve that
Right.
problem is to be like a department that highly invests in their people, where it's like, this is a
Right.
great place to be.
Right.
Well, it's what is that, that old saying, it's, you know, the CFO says, well, what happens if we train our people and they leave? And the CEO says, what happens if we don't and they stay?
Right.
You know?
Right. No, I totally believe in professional development.
I mean, that, and the EV thing you mentioned, I think that's important too, because,
I have a few people going on their own time right now.
yeah, I mean, those tend to
That's gonna be a big
spontaneously
problem. It's gonna
combust.
become prevalent. We got Route 24 that goes
Yeah.
right through the town. I mean, it's gonna be a huge issue as those cars become, you know, become the larger percentage than they are now.
Electrical fires are a pain in the butt to put out.
Have we talked to Denise about the electricity accounts? Because we are getting money in, right?
Yeah, we're netting them out.
Oh, okay.
So this is basically what our true investment rates are.
Okay, all right. And firefighters training went up? Because we have to train more? No.
If we hire and we have to send people to the Rhode Island Fire, see, that's the thing we don't know is like, so these
Right.
two that we just hired had everything. They did not need to go to the Rhode Island Fire Academy, but, you know, moving forward, we may find a suitable candidate, but they need to go to the Fire Academy and get their 12 weeks of firefighter 1 and firefighter 2 hazmat operations. So we were just anticipating with the 3 vacancies, retirements, and a possible promotion from within, it's about 3,700, I believe, when you total it all out to send somebody down there to the Rhode Island Fire Academy.
So why is the hazmat supply line new?
So what I was looking at was creating an account, I didn't want to take it out of like tools and equipment, but recognizing like we have inland fuels and the amount of fuel trucks that we have traversing our roads, one of the things I discovered was we have personally, within the fire department, minimal mitigation equipment.
Okay.
And that if we were to respond to, I know like inland fuel terminals has their own equipment, but if we were to respond, say, to Main Road, Stafford Road, what I want to be able to do is mitigate a potential environmental disaster. So I've already started purchasing some limited supplies. Also, I was looking at, it could be an account that if an impending storm is coming and we need to maybe make a purchase of, you know, batteries, another chainsaw, et cetera, that I would have an account to draw out of.
So that inland fuel is the depot for all the communities surrounding it.
Right.
Their fuel, they travel to Tiverton.
Yeah, I'm just surprised we didn't have that. And then my second question is, did you move money around to put that $3,000 in there? So
No,
that's
I did not.
additional money.
Additional
Okay.
money and, you know, like absorbents, like the speedy drive we put down. I just don't think that should come out of tools and equipment. I think that way I could track it separately and see like what we spend on mitigation supplies. But I'm trying now to build up like a baseline so that we're just, when we arrive on scene, we can keep water out of storm drains,
Yep.
the
Yep.
ponds, et cetera.
And of course, having been a person that had to buy this stuff in the past, it is unbelievably expensive.
No, nothing is inexpensive in the fire service.
So this could be something we use either American Recovery or gaming monies and do an outfitting of it. And then we would have to find a way to replenish it if it was used. So we could come out of the operating, but we'd have to find a way to fund it so that it was done. So it wouldn't be in our operational budget.
So get the upfront equipment and then just have this line item for later use, and maybe it's a couple thousand a year.
The issue is, once it gets used, we have to
Right.
replace.
Hopefully it doesn't get used.
No,
the type
that's,
of equipment you
that,
don't wanna use.
he doesn't have,
I just would like to have a
Right,
baseline,
right.
a set of mitigation supplies that we could get on the scene so that we can start taking initial actions before other agencies arrive on scene.
It's $3,000.
so we can look at that and any other
Yeah.
idea that could be from that one.
Can I ask on the telephone side? Obviously, we're pulling cell phones out of there, but some of the carriers do have programs where they provide, like T-Mobile, I think I sent one to the administrator.
So Verizon's mentioned that more right now, so, and we do use those programs.
Okay.
Although they're not too happy with us this week because the landfill closure people cut their line down there at the.
Does that explain why my service has been junked down in the south end?
Probably does.
Love it.
Apparatus maintenance went up.
So, yes, the cost now of repairing, there's a few items with that. The costs now are high. I really believe our apparatus should go to emergency vehicle repair facilities such as Bulldog, SVI, et cetera, and not everything done, or some of the repairs done in-house. The ladder truck, we just took it, it was under warranty early this month, and we got everything done, but now that it's out of warranty, that truck should have a major annual overhaul service where they go through the ladder, the hydraulic systems, any repairs that may come out of that. It's a valuable truck, it was an expensive truck, and it should be maintained. And I just think for liability purposes, we need to look at doing something a little bit different and using like certified fire apparatus repair places.
So you're required by NFPA to have them, some of these have to have. like,
Yeah.
If you're working on their brakes or any life safety issues, they all have to be certified technicians. Our public works, nice people and all that, but they're not at all certified to do.
And we have an aging fleet also. I mean, other than the ladder truck, our apparatus is aging.
And there's a hell of a lot more to a ladder truck than there is to a pumper.
Exactly.
Well, it's also like the brakes on the, rescues and the pumpers
Sure.
and, the electrical.
Oh, yeah, all the normal stuff, but then we add the ladder.
Could we have a list? I know we had it at one point.
Of vehicles and exposure rates and mileages, hours and that kind of thing.
Year, that kind of stuff, mileage.
I have that.
Do I have that somewhere?
I have it here, but I only have one copy.
I'll make
So,
Perfect.
we used to have a certified mechanic in town who, I believe, retired. What,
Not to do
Not
with
for
fire.
NFPA certifications.
no?
These are certifications.
Yeah,
We always sent those out?
no, we just had what he said is we had mechanics working on it that weren't certified in it, right?
Yeah, and I just feel that, the liability issue, like, we're putting our first responders on these vehicles. It's their safety, it's the public safety that they need to be fixed by.
I totally agree. I just didn't know if is it worth it for us to have one of these certified mechanics? Like, what's the cost? The training is
Yeah.
lengthy, and
And then you gotta buy the equipment to service the
I
vehicles.
thought that
Yeah, and I-
we had that in one time.
No, the police department does.
I think it was diesel though.
I don't know.
I just remember we had somebody who did something who retired, and then we had to send
Yeah,
vehicles out.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, we're ostensibly flat with 22, 23 just by reducing overtime for these accounts. I'm sure we'll come back and nickel and dime them later, though.
I'm just asking this because we usually, we just bought a fire.
Chief, on your, going back to the previous page, at least on mine, your education allowance, you're showing using roughly half so far this year. This is through Oh, no, that's the actual for last year, I'm sorry. So is that, if we kept that, put that at a lower amount, would that work for you?
You're talking the educational loans?
6922?
6922. So
Which one are you looking?
6922.
Page 6, 6922, educational allowance. So we budgeted in 21-22, 6750.
Right.
Used 3580.
Well, actually, no. Well, for this year, we're gonna use probably close to the whole 6750, but what we have right now is, we don't reimburse somebody until after they complete their courses. So they're finishing up, and we'll be paying that probably like in May or June. Because that's like, they have to
Right.
successfully complete the course to get the money.
All right, but this year you're anticipating hitting that 6750 or right around there?
We were gonna be right around it. We
Okay.
have some people
All
in,
right.
in programs right now.
That answers my question. Thanks.
So I have a question for Chris and the chief. So we currently have an ambulance that we can't get rid of.
Oh, yeah.
What is wrong with it?
That I don't know. That was taken out of service quite a while ago. But,
Well, okay, so here's my question.
Which ambulance?
Years ago, we used one of them for DPW, for like road
that's still being
safety.
used.
Is this ambulance suitable to be used for like a hazmat vehicle?
So we actually are in the process of getting a new rescue. It should be in probably next week. And what my plan was, or was hopefully considering, was taking one of the, as we move stuff into reserve, at some point freeing up one of those ambulances and turning it into maybe potentially a hazmat mitigation vehicle.
That's-
Where it could carry, and then we're not trailering stuff, it would be easy to respond and get equipment on the scene.
Yeah.
So the one you're talking about, I think it's been sitting in storage for 4 years. It was in storage before I came on, and it's still, I think we tried to sell it last year, and we had no takers on it. So I don't think it's suitable.
Where is it in storage?
It's in behind fire.
Police.
Please.
It's been
Okay.
rotted,
No, it's
yeah,
behind
it's
the
been
police.
rotted one. Well, it's just,
The tent they have in the back,
been my
we got
thought
a
also.
plan, so that's good.
It's been my thought.
We're getting a new rescue?
we're getting
Well-
a new rescue, and we just got confirmation.
We ordered a second
We're on
one.
council twice now for that.
USDA.
USDA grant.
Right.
USDA finally agreed that what we proposed is already, and
We gave them
well,
authorization to leap
so,
on
but
the
it'll be
town.
31
Right.
months before
I
that.
just didn't know.
We'll be back
Chief
before
Jones
you.
let me know that the other day.
That's approximately 2 years to 31 months for the one that we ordered. And then the other one that came out of capital and CARES money, was that CARES money?
Here's one.
What's cares money?
Here's one.
That truck should probably be in the town next week.
Yay.
So we're in the middle of buying the second one.
So we're
Actually,
looking better than we ever have.
yeah.
At least on the EMS side.
Maybe we could use,
Yeah.
maybe we could use the rotten
Yeah.
ambulance for
'cause
firefighter extrication training.
There you go, that's a good
Right,
idea.
on the EMS side, it might be the best we ever
I
had.
believe so. With that grant, we're gonna be in great shape, and we still have money to order other equipment.
And we went out there, we didn't tax you for this.
Exactly,
I know.
exactly.
I just want to keep saying that because people think that the casino money is not decreasing their taxes.
Of course, it
It definitely is.
definitely is.
All right, so are we good with 3290658 for now? Total fire
Can
department,
you say that?
3290658.
3290658.
That's,
Basically just the overtime reduction.
that's the only, yeah, the overtime reduction's the only thing we touched.
Is that me? I'm sorry.
So it's basically-
Yeah, the only thing I would suggest, and you're probably thinking about this already, is when we come back, if you're able to come back and say, okay, well, here's where I would nickel and dime these other accounts, that would be helpful.
Yeah, because at some point, we're going to have to do that. This is just, like I told everyone, we're going to have another meeting at the end of all this,
Right.
just to do that.
I mean, just out of these two accounts, if there's a way to find another 25,000, that would be immensely helpful.
If we can find that from other sources, because I know you have lots of ideas, Chris.
Yeah, I think one-time expenses are great. I think, however, if we fund something that becomes an operational expense later, out of one-time sources, then we get that bump up later
Right.
that we have to address.
We really shouldn't be funding operational items with
Right.
one-time money.
No, it should be,
Absolutely
it should be all capital and one-time things, which we've been pretty good at doing that. I don't think we have yet.
So Chief, I bring this up all the time, everybody here knows it.
I think I know where you're going.
Medical physical,
Sure. I've actually had a discussion with the town.
let's use it.
So I really think we ought to have an MOU or an MOA with the union on how it goes down, and eventually it should be put into the contract. In my prior world, that's what we had, that spelled out many of the issues that get raised,
Requirement of employment.
everything from, is it on duty, off duty, your doctor, town's doctor, overtime, not overtime? But this can all be ironed out, one way or the other, and they should be in favor of it. And I've already met with the executive board recently about that.
We're going into negotiations again, right? In January, so you'll be there with us in negotiations.
I have
so
a list.
Make sure we remember that.
Oh, I have a file.
We will.
That and many more.
My mother first.
All right, so are we good with that number that John just,
Is John coming?
3290658?
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
answer.
Anybody, anything else on fire?
Call my mother and then I'll call John.
Anything on fire?
That was the final number, 329?
3290658.
Got it, thank you.
So we
So
took
it's just the
75 out of
275
personnel.
down to 200
Right.
for the overtime.
Yes, okay.
All right, so, thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Find the right agenda. So we have land use, pension plans, and John's not here. So you want to go,
She's gonna call him.
You wanna go to
So
those
I
other
will tell
ones?
you, on pension plan,
what's the one?
social security,
Yeah.
and unemployment, they're all calculated based on staff. So there's a formula that
Yeah.
when we budget this for the number of staff. So if we increase staff or decrease staff, it's all based on formula.
Question,
Sure.
what is an 857 plan?
That's the one that you just created for town.
457 plan is what,
The one
yeah.
it's also, 457B, right?
Yeah.
It says 8?
It says 857 on the budget.
No, it's
It's
Yeah,
all
it
good, it
does,
was a
it does,
typo, I'm
yeah.
just
But
messing with
it's
it.
also in my contract that I've never used.
Yep.
So if we're gonna do it, might as well do it.
Okay.
I mean, these numbers are what they are.
Yeah, so just so it's 2220 for the pension,
2250,
2250 for which one?
Now,
2270.
Wait a minute, 2250 for social, okay, 2270 for unemployment,
Right.
5295 for unfunded. And
Well,
what's,
2300 is on.
2,300 is unfunded.
no, I'm looking at, so I'm looking at a different one, 2300.
457, yeah.
That's just a flat rate, that's not
Right,
a.
and OPEB is, doesn't have
OPEB
a
should
number.
be- Yeah, it's been new for a couple of
Yeah,
years.
yeah, so we need a number for that eventually. And we did senior, we did fire. Okay, so pension, social security, and unemployment, you said are the formulas, right?
Yeah.
Everybody good with those? Obviously, we can't do much to touch those.
There is one that we can touch in
Which one?
2200, or 2220. With the police pension, obviously, we're up 100 grand on that contribution from last year. Not that I want to decrease what we're contributing to try and get us back to fully funded, but that's an area where we could, in theory, find some savings.
I was thinking the same thing.
Right.
We want to talk about that now, or we want to wait until?
I think we should decrease it.
I'll pontificate all day
Is that John
long
again?
on this subject.
Oh. It's John.
So what would be 600, 550?
I mean, I think we could start by stripping 50 out of there. You know, at a later meeting, the council needs to revisit kind of what we're doing in that space.
So we're doing a pretty aggressive catch-up, and it got to 90%, 91% actually, I think. Actually, yeah, 91 or 92. And then, obviously, last year, the market kind of took a tank, so we didn't know the market was gonna tank as bad as it did, but, so we did reduce down to, it's still above the arc, I think the arc is
The ARC's like 450, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 450 or 470, somewhere in there,
Home share was next week, right?
next week.
Do you know what we're at percentage-wise now? Do
Everything's dropped like
you know what we're at
20%.
percentage-wise now?
There's another 20% to
We're
go.
about 73. But it's relevant because everybody's at 73. You know, everybody went down the same rate. We're
Right.
we're no different than anybody else.
Just because of the market drop.
We're actually probably a little bit better than the state pension plan.
We actually made better, our return, we projected 8%, I think it was at 8.9 or, so we did better than what our projected return was.
So we're on,
So what are we saying,
Police
taking 50
pension.
grand out of it?
You could take 50, you could take 100.
I would take 100 out.
As long as we stay above the ARC, and quite frankly, we can mitigate some of that reduction by looking at cost savings within the plan structure, but that's for a later time.
so pull that down to 550,
Yep, that's the payment we made this year.
which,
We've made big gains here. Am I correct? From where we were like years
Yeah,
ago.
we were 40%, we're now.
so the bottom line for pension then is 1,296,397.
396.
1,296,397.
396.
I took 100 off, so it says 1,396,397. I subtracted 100,000, that's 1,296,397.
Yeah.
Correct.
Where are you getting the
But
money?
I'm looking at this report.
It's,
Okay.
yeah, and so-
I'm looking at this page.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, this page
Do you have a date
says
on the left?
139, do I have a date on this? I have a date of March 26th.
Yeah.
so do I.
1,396,397 is what I'm looking at, printed in black bold.
No, look, Mike.
I know,
Okay,
it's not the first time this has happened.
Look,
Okay.
so if you look at this.
It's gotta be the
one,
printer.
They're both March 26,
We'll get you a brand new one this week.
and the bottom is different.
Page 5?
yeah.
Yeah, see, I have two, both dated the same.
You know, this happened last year
But
for some
I have to
reason.
tell you, this one came in our packet on Monday.
Yeah, that's what I'm working off of.
This
Me too.
one.
This one I had
we
at my
got
house.
From a while ago.
Okay, this one I had
So
at my
this is the
house.
one you recently printed, Chris.
I didn't print anything recently.
It was in the packet on
It
Monday.
was on the packet on Monday.
What's the total you got?
The brand new one you gave me to.
One
put in the
three nine
packet,
six
and
three
now
nine
it's-
seven
I'm gonna have to
was
go back
the
and double
old
check.
one. The one that we got in our packet on Monday was 1396396.
1,296,396 is the new number.
Okay,
All right, we're at
I'll double check them
Mike,
both.
Mike just got overruled.
This dollar could make the difference in this budget.
10 minutes.
we're at a 7.4
I'm not
increase on the
quite
municipal
sure why
side.
these two are
I don't
different
know,
though.
I'm gonna have to look at it.
But who, really, yeah, it was.
All I'm reading is.
I know, but
Yeah.
if you add it up,
Oh, yeah, okay. I didn't do that, Dave.
All this over a dollar.
We will definitely double check to make sure.
Yeah, I think the one that we got Monday is right.
Okay.
I'm not sure though.
It should have been 6.
7.4% increase on the municipal side right now.
Well, yeah, I know.
No, we're shaving, we
Well,
shaved
we are
off a half a
shaving.
point already, so.
Yeah, we're gonna keep shaving.
Keep doing it.
You know, we can always, and also, we have to keep in mind, which we always do take some from the general fund to help.
Oh, yeah, it's given.
So,
You almost have to.
well,
All right, do we look at OPEB?
okay, so,
Well, the 100 grand in the employer share.
so what are we doing now? So we did pension.
Yep.
I just talked to John. He just said to go over his budget without him, and he'll talk to us later. He's tied up with something right now. He's coming into town, but we'll probably be gone by the time he gets here. So we're gonna do, did we do audit of town accounts?
It's 25 grand, the same as it always is.
That's
Okay,
actually going out to bid, so
That's pretty much what it is.
Okay.
we're expecting it to be about the same.
okay. OPEB,
OPEB.
So we're dropping a hundo in there this year.
Well, we made up the other past 2 years with
Yep.
the American Recovery money, so at
Okay.
some point, we have to bite the bullet and make our payment, but.
Yeah, it's gonna be budget, so.
It should come out of the budget anyways. I mean, this is an operating expense, but.
Well, we can't return to not doing it.
I would agree. Although, you know, it could be something we address, because in my mind, I think, you know, the casino, it's one-time payments or, you know, getting things like the OPEB account back to square, so maybe that's an opportunity to look at some casino dollars.
It's not a capital item, but it's
I
a
understand.
financial item, but it's, I know. I will say though, the employees make their share, but are required to do it, so the town has not done theirs.
Do you want to keep it in here for now and then?
Yeah.
I would say at the end, if something needs to be cut, we cut it, but it's, you know, leave it there for now and put an asterisk next to it.
I just did. Social
Maybe
security.
go to 50 at the end of it, you know, you do something.
Social, we talked about it as a formula based.
Unemployment.
We talked about that as a formula based.
No, that's not formula,
Oh, that's
that's
not?
just an annual, that's, we just put, just in case, but.
I think all that's left is land use.
What's up with that SSI
No, we
jump?
didn't do unfunded either, that's also flat based, that we do.
Chris, what's up with the social security jump?
Did go, 15.
15, 15, 15?
Yeah.
Oh, social security, oh, social security.
Well, it was 640 last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because wages went up.
Oh, okay.
Salary increases, all that kind of stuff.
Got it.
Because that's just a formula.
Right,
That one is formula.
yeah.
That's
Well-
based on your increased wages, that's Social Security.
It's a formula based on an assumption.
All right. I'm gonna have to find some time to look at a FICA alt as a way to help that number out.
So land use, and I'm looking at my newer budget now, because I've had enough.
I only have one in front of me, so I only brought one copy.
I'll tell you if it's
What
different.
page?
The right one.
I grabbed it both, Mike, because I wasn't quite sure why we got a new one.
Page 14, the total, the grand total. Maybe we can make sure they're similar. I know we're both politics.
Well, they're only off by a little bit. I'm fine. I think I'm the only one with the old copy in front of me.
Oh, I've got one too.
Oh,
I got one too.
oh, okay.
Well,
It was done on purpose.
so what did you want us to look at?
To reconcile the bottom line number overall.
So, but we've just changed it quite a bit.
Right, but that's, so she wants to know, Mary wants to know what the bottom line is on
Page 14.
page 14 on the newer version.
And Mike can't help you with that.
I know.
so-
Page 14.
Don't go by him.
I don't have a page for
So the
Yes, you
version
do.
that she and I have is 23,912,664, right, Mary?
It's got the school and
Is that
everything.
what you're
That's what I
looking
have.
for municipal expenses?
Yep.
Right there.
23,9.
Oh, yeah, this is the new one.
Right, so what is it on the newer version?
Too much
Same.
paper.
Oh, it's the same?
Same.
So those numbers are the same, okay.
So it's something within the formulas in between.
Yeah.
Okay.
One item.
Somebody went up a buck, somebody went down a buck, I don't know where it is.
We want to find it.
We'll
I'll find it.
Well, what I'm hoping is,
Thank you.
by our meeting, Monday will be too soon, but maybe by.
I hope to have it done by Monday.
Well, I'm all, so just correct everything by Monday with our new changes. And we'll get it over to the budget committee if you guys want.
That's what you printed off. What you gave me is what I'm gonna do.
Oh, I know, I was like, what's he talking about? We got this in our back.
So did we decide
Page
on land
3.
use?
Yeah, we're gonna do land use.
Page 3.
John said he trusts me. I don't know what that means. So let's cut everything and tell him. What? We're on page 3 right now, land use. That planner.
I think we're advertising at 90.
Yeah, we are. It's just that we're not using it. Well, we are
Oh, we
using
are.
it.
We are.
We
Oh, we
are
are.
for Ashley.
We're gonna run out of money
Actually,
with
we
that.
we're at 67% for the year, and we've used 75%, so.
So that's gonna hit the council contingency.
Especially because it's only part-time.
Yeah, we're paying it more than.
So the only increase really is the 2,500 for the zoning office? I'm trying to line it up. For copy services?
So, yeah, they had to get a new lease this year for their machine. And actually, there's a few that are gonna have a little bit of a $500 problem. I forgot there was an annual service charge of $500 beyond the annual lease. So I think his is corrected, so.
And then the software and the supplies.
So software is just, it's what they bill us for.
I want to talk about the part-time zoning official. How often is the part-time zoning official?
He's here twice a week.
Okay, so this is just, I'm not saying we do it this year, but do we need him here more? We're having a lot of zoning issues lately, guys.
No, not this town.
And I'm not quite sure it's being
We are, but
addressed.
what I've done now is the zoning official can't do anything unless he runs a building official.
But what I'm,
Because John is also a zoning official.
but that's what I'm saying. Is he really helping? Is that
Yeah,
part-time?
he takes a lot off John's part.
He does.
Like, I was driving somewhere the other day, there was somebody having a yard sale that has it like 4 times a week,
Yes.
you know.
I know what you're talking about.
I sent him there. We're still dealing with Adams Street, and there's a number of places we're still dealing with that there are continual problems. So if he goes out and he tries to work with them and he tries to get them to comply, and then we do our citations. The issue is writing citations without running to John.
Yeah, I just, not that I want to spend more money, but do we need more hours for zoning?
Let's give it another 6 months. I wouldn't put anything in the budget this year.
Right, I just want, while we're
I
talking,
would still keep it part-time. It may just be a different person.
because a lot of, let's be serious, we're going to court sometimes because
Yeah,
of.
we're going to court because of the Tom Chases of the world and others that really have nothing to do with the zoning official. The zoning official is doing his job.
Right, but what I'm saying is, the Tom Chases of the world need to be monitored more closely, and John is so busy, and.
Well, that's the nature of, you know, we can put a full-time babysitter out, that's gonna cost us a lot of money we're gonna be accused of targeting somebody. They're no different than some of the other businesses we're having issues with.
But I'm just
We're
wondering.
not trying to do that.
If we could save in legal if we didn't get as far as we get with this. Because sometimes this gets to the point
It
that
does,
all of a
but
sudden,
those people are just perennial non-compliers. Having them going out there 5 times a week and they know that is not going to change them.
And hence the reason they are targeted.
Right.
They do
So the
things
ones
to make
that the zoning
themselves
official does go out with and works with and gets corrective action, they're staying out of court. So he is being productive. It's-
right, I just want to know if we needed more hours to be more productive. But I do agree, there's some people in this town that feel they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
costing us
not
a
in
lot.
Tiverton.
It's costing us a lot of money in legal fees because of it, and it's just ridiculous that
Question,
people don't obey.
building official salary, is that like a contractual thing? Are we anticipating a raise? Because I thought we had a policy where we put all the raise dollars into one bucket and
I
it was
believe
the,
that's a makeup from the last contract.
Okay.
We gave them a bump. I haven't done anything with them this year.
Because if you notice, our council contingency is still way up,
yeah, well, that's,
because I don't think.
it's meritocracy now for the building, for the department heads.
Eventually, I wanted some kind of what really is in there.
Okay, I'll talk to Denise, we'll get something going.
Because as it is right now, the only union, no, there's 2 unions that really aren't in here yet, but we have kind of settled with one.
That's kind of
Yeah,
okay.
that, hopefully they're voting on it in the next week.
And we still have the Teamsters, but that's all we have.
No, that can be settled. I'm not,
That's enough.
Yeah, I know, the Teamsters is enough. And then we're going into fire, but that'll be the next budget.
that's gonna be, it won't be, it'll.
2 budgets.
2
it'll be
budgets.
2 budgets, yeah.
When's police?
It's right after that.
Right. Yeah, I just like to see what is actually in that council contingency, because we could probably use that for some things right now, like one-time expenses or something.
We worried about supplies and miscellaneous at all? Because I know our spend in 21, 22 was significantly higher.
So they are pushing more product out, they're pushing more paperwork out, they are working, you know, they're very, very active.
Yeah, so I mean, should that number be up?
No, I would, let me deal with leaving it the way it is, and if need be, we'll figure out how to rearrange something internally.
Okay.
So, they are pushing more product out, they're pushing more paperwork out, they are working, you know, they are very, very active. Yeah, I would, let me deal with leaving it the way it is, and if need be, we'll figure out how to rearrange something internally.
Okay. Same thing with postage too.
Postage is a problem.
Yeah, that's going up.
That's,
No, it's going up again to 66. Yeah, it was on the news the other day.
He's right, I
I
saw
want to say
it.
66
why all
cents.
those forever stamps now?
Yeah. I don't know
Set up
when.
the stamps.com
I don't know when.
account.
Huh?
Stamps.com.
I think we'll be all right with this. You know, some of it's related to zoning, but it's, you know, we do get monies in for that, but that's,
July 9,
so his general postage should be okay.
66.
I saw that the other day on the news too.
Automobile expenses are a little higher too. I'm assuming that's mileage reimbursement because that rate just went up again.
Automobile, yes, he does have a car.
Yeah, he has a car.
He's got a car.
He's had some repairs to that car, but that's, and the mileage is for the other guy, for the zoning guy.
Yeah, and the mileage rate just went up to like 65 cents a mile or something.
Did it really?
Yeah. I love it. I get reimbursed by my company.
Try to keep the budget as low as we can. That's what it is.
Okay. This was supposed to be a little longer because the library was coming over, but then they changed it. They've changed the, so Monday's gonna be a little heavier.
Okay. She'll be quick though, library.
Now, don't forget, Monday we're starting at 6.
Yep.
All right. And then next Saturday, and I'm gonna at some point suggest like another meeting just to talk bottom line. And whatever. I'm gonna put, on our next council meeting, I'm gonna put some of the stuff that you don't see into that next council meeting. Revenues, I don't know when we'll have
We'll have
revenue.
Monday.
That's helpful. And then we need no fund balance too.
That we have.
Anything else I'm forgetting?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I'll go through the budget again and look at it, but we're gonna need, it'll be a shorter meeting, but we're gonna need another meeting at some point besides these 3.
So when you do that, I suggest that you also put a disclaimer at the bottom that we can talk about anything, not just specifics.
Yeah.
Say again?
So that the
I think-
agenda reflects that the whole budget is up for discussion and possible votes.
Or any other
Why
budgetary
don't we put
items.
that on Saturdays?
These already,
Because we can't, these are already posted, but we
they
can
already
change it.
posted?
Right.
Yeah.
Remember I said that, I did say that at one point. Just put,
I'm gonna run it by Mike, because Mike has been very specific, because I did say, I tried to add,
Yes.
and not limited to,
yes, and he wouldn't let us
and
do
he
it.
wouldn't let me, he said it has to be specific.
That's not true though,
That's not
because we've done
true.
it every year.
I know, I went
You
back.
have to be able to do that.
I used to do it on the budget
We've
committee
done
all the
it
time.
every year.
So
He made me take it off.
I would just couch it as, general preliminary discussion of any valid budget item.
Just put it on.
That's how we used to do it in the budget.
Or words to that effect.
We used to do that on the
We've
budget.
never had a problem with that.
That would have been dead up.
Yeah, so
not a
by
final
the way, we did try that. I knew we did, and Joan didn't put it there. But Joan,
We'll run it by Mike.
don't even run it by Mike, just do it. No, I'm serious. Just do it, don't run it by Mike.
We have to have it. We have to have it.
Yeah, and he's gonna say not to do it, and I want you to do it, but
Are we done?
Motion to adjourn?
There we go.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Another one of those,